Yeah, thank you. So we're just going to take it away. Okay. I hope you guys can still see my browser. I just opened a new tab, and here we are going to see how to create a testnet account, because it's a requirement for us while developing. So I just navigated to wallet.testnet.nia.org. Maybe I'll send these in the chat. Let me have these right here. Come on. Guys, can you hear me? My machine just froze. Okay. Awesome. So that is the link. I think I'll just stop my camera for the sake of this. So I hope you can see the link I've just shared in the chat. So if you still can see my screen, this is basically a testnet wallet. So basically what you can see there, you can't withdraw whatever tokens you can see there, because apparently I have $1323, $1,323. So that is basically going to be used for test purposes. You're not going to be able to withdraw all that. Now, this is for an account that I apparently have, but I'm going to take us through creating a new account. So I'm basically going to click on the create new account option or button down here. That brings you to this particular interface telling you to reserve your account ID. Now, in this case, you're going to follow these instructions that have been listed down here. You can find your time and just go through them while you're going to create your own testnet account. Now, in this case, I'm simply going to use something related to our training. Maybe you can call it, let me see. That's not so descriptive. You guys can give me a name as well. I'm running low, but running short of these words. Let's go with SA cohort 2, right? Awesome, SA cohort 2, or you can use SA hyphen cohort 2. Now, let's go with this particular account account ID. So I'll just click on the reserve my account ID. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, now we are here, and I'm prompted to choose a security method. Now, in this case, we are having the most secure methods and most convenient methods. Now, in this case, if you're just doing this for convenience, like, sorry, you're not so much concerned with security, you can go with email option. A much better option is Ledger hardware wallet. If you have a Ledger hardware, you can basically link them by choosing this particular option. But in this case, we're going to proceed with the secure passphrase, sorry. So I just selected that. I'll hit on continue. Then you realize that I'm presented by a set of words, or what we are calling the passphrase. In this case, they are all arranged in a particular order. You realize that they are all numbered. Now, these words will really need to have them stored somewhere safe, because if we lose them, we lose access to our account. Okay. Now, there's no forget password in blockchain. Once you forget your passphrase, that is it. If you had some funds in your wallet, then that is how they'll be gone. If this is not pleasing to your eyes, you can still click on generate new. It will generate a new set of words in a certain arrangement. And you can, once you're comfortable to go, or you're good to go, you just click on the copy, and this is going to copy this particular phrase. And for now, just for convenience, I'll paste them somewhere here. So yeah, I'll just paste them somewhere here so that we don't waste time. Yeah, that is it. So we'll head back to the wallet and just hit on continue. Then we'll be asked to provide word number 11. So I'll just come back here and count these. Now, tentatively, they are 12 in number. So I'll just check for the 11th, and that is icon. Get back here and just provide the word. If that is the right word, we'll proceed and create the account. SA cohort 2. So let's wait and see what that brings on board. Awesome. Now we just created SA cohort 2.testnet account. So this is the wallet we're going to use for the better part of this particular training. We're going to host our DApp in this particular wallet. Now, the first requirement is done. That is having a testnet account. So if you have Windows or Linux, whichever you have, well and good. So we'll just need, in case you face any challenge, just feel free to reach out. Then you're also gonna need Node.js. Oh, you guys had provided some, thanks for the ideas. We're gonna use these next time. So for now, we're going to ensure you have Node. Now, in this case, I'm simply going to bring up my terminal and check for the rest of this, because I believe I already have them installed. Maybe if I can stop sharing and reshare, because I think I just shared one window. So maybe I can just share everything. So I believe you guys can see everything from my end. So we are told that we need Node.js. So apparently I have that installed, but we can just check that out by typing that from the terminal. Now, I'm not so sure if you guys can see that clearly. So maybe I'll just increase the font. Awesome. I hope that's visible. So I apparently have Node version 17. Let's also check if we have npm installed by running that. And in this case, I have npm version 8.3.1. So in that case, it is installed. Let's also see if yarn is also available, because I prefer using yarn. Awesome, I have yarn version 1.22.18. So what else do we need? We need an editor. I'm going to show that in a while. Then we need near CLI. Now, for you to test if you have near, now for you to install near CLI, you can simply do npm install global near CLI. That is it. Okay. Or if you prefer, sorry, if you're using the word global, use 2 hyphens. If you're going for the shorthand version, then you can just do 1-G. That will be it. This is for those of us who like shortcuts. So you can just do npm i-g near CLI. That will be it. You'll have installed your near CLI. Now to test that, I'm simply going to run near command and see what that brings on board. Now you realize that there are some commands that it shows: near state, near delete, near keys, near deploy, and all that. So these basically shows that you have the command, the package, near CLI package installed within your machine. So I'll just go ahead and clear that out for now. And see what else are we required to have. Assemblyscript. Now, for us to install the Assemblyscript, there's that link I shared with you guys yesterday. Some guidance on how to install that has been given right there. So I'll just follow that link. Again, if you are not there yesterday, you're just joining us today, I'll just have this shared in the chat as well, so that you don't miss out. That is all the resources you need. All the resources you need to do this certification. Let me have this to everyone. Awesome. So that is it. Now, right here, I'll just head to near certified developer, have that load as quick as possible, please. Awesome. Then under bootcamps, beginner to-do list, there's this command provided right here. So you can simply copy this. So I'll just go ahead and copy that. So I've already installed it, but for the sake of this particular training, you can simply run npm install global Assemblyscript /loader. Then after that, you also need to run this particular command. I'll just have it pasted in the terminal. So you can as well run that after the one I showed, npm install global Assemblyscript. So that should avail all the resources needed for us to proceed with this particular project. Now, after that, you already have your environment set up. So basically what you're going to do after that is setting up a project, right? And to do that, I'll let me have these. So awesome. So let's create a folder right here, and we're going to call it cohort 2, right? So that is the folder we're going to work from. That is the folder we're going to work from. So I'll just launch my terminal from that folder, just like that. Then increase the font for visibility. I hope that's visible enough. Then I'll just run the command npx create near app. Now, by running this, if npm create near app, then you provide the name of your project. In this case, you're going to do a to-do list, right? So that is going to be the name of our project. Now, if you run this as it is going to create a skeleton of a project, or with a HTML front end, the simple HTML front end, and Assemblyscript as your smart contract. Now, if you're here and you chose to proceed with Rust, then you'll have to specify that right here. So you're going to do contract Rust, something like that, right? And if you also prefer to use React for your front end, you can simply do -- front end React. Okay. So that is that. So apparently we just want to make it simple. So let's go with this. So I'll just hit enter and let that. Okay. What is this? I get something wrong? npx create near up to the list. Yeah, I think in my first statement there was a misspelling. Because I misspelled create. So that is it. So this is basically going to create the project. Okay, let's wait for that to finish up. Any other front end that is viable other than React? Well, you can use any other front end, whatever you're comfortable with. You can, as long as you know how to link the two, okay? Because linking is not really that difficult. So as long as you know how to link them, that's why we're going to use just a very simple web front end for this particular project, for you to know how to link the two. Now you can use Angular, you can use React, you can use Vue.js, you can as well interface your smart contract with a backend, say Node.js. So if you know some of the Node.js frameworks, the likes of what, Nest.js, Next.js, we have what else? Express, yeah, Express for Node.js, all that. So you can basically interface your smart contract with all that. It doesn't have to be a web frontend. It can as well be a Node.js backend that is in a server. All these can happen very, very comfortably. So that is still installing. Now, maybe as that installs, I'm just going to take us through what we're going to build. I'll just take us through what we're going to do, just an overview, okay? For you to have an idea of what you guys are going to do. So this is a project I've already created. So I'll just open it in the terminal. Now, this project is already deployed, right? Maybe if I close these and just have these open in my favorite editor. So let's see what these shows up. Yeah, so this is a project you're going to basically build. I've already deployed it. And here are some of the functions or how you can interact with the smart contract on blockchain. Now, okay, did that automatically or what? Okay. Yeah. So here you can create a new task. You can show a task. You can show all tasks. You can start a task. You can complete a task, and you can remove a task. Okay. So those are the basic functions you're going to achieve within our smart contract. Now, if I just got now, these are script file. So by running all these together, you guys will not be able to understand what's going on under the hood. So I'll just be copying the commands one after the other, and we see what's going on. So I'll just have this pasted over here, as I explained. Now, in this case, we're going to call a function of a smart contract deployed in this particular account, and the function name is new task. The parameters that this function requires is title, and we've given that a value of doing a course. And the account that is signing this particular transaction is this. So if I run this particular command in my terminal, it will basically return, yeah, this record. So this is the record that has been created. This is created on blockchain now. So this is in blockchain. So if I were to view this, I'll just come here and say near call this, then show task. So this would basically be show task. Okay, show task. Then I'd provide the task ID that I want to see, right? Task ID. And that will be provided. Now, the ID in this case is 3, right? So that is basically what we'll provide right here. 3. And I'm still the one signing that particular transaction. So it should return an object representing that task to us. Oh, that was never found. Or it provided something wrong. Let me see if that will work. So we can just show all tasks as well. Yeah, that was found. We can as well show all tasks. So in this case, you can just simply say show all tasks, right? And we don't need any of these. That function doesn't accept any parameters. In this case, you can simply call it as it is. It should be able to return all the tasks that are in that particular, that have been stored on blockchain through that particular smart contract. So let's just see what this brings on board. Awesome. So these are 3. These are 3 smart contracts. Awesome. Now, I hope our project is up and done. So the installation is done. So we basically, we've been given some directions here you can follow. So we basically are going to CD into to-do list. To-do list. So this is basically the root folder of our project. Now, if I open these in my favorite code editor, this is what you'll see initially. This is what you're gonna see initially. I hope this is awesome. So we're going to have a contract folder. You're going to use this folder to develop your smart contract. So anything smart contract related is going to be done from this folder. Now, anything front end related is going to be done from this particular folder, according to the configuration of this project. Now, in this case, I'll try and sort of separate the two so that we see how we can link the two in case you're working on a front end and some other guys are working on the smart contract from a different place and you want to simply integrate the two. How can you go about that? So in that case, I'll ignore this particular folder for the front end and I'll just create a whole new project for the front end. We see so that we are able to see how to get the two integrated. Then for the sake of smart contract development, I'm just going to use this particular folder for all that. If you open it up, you realize that it's a whole new, it's a whole project on its own. Okay. So in this case, I'll just close that. And we're already in to-do list, the project we've just created, but then I said, I'm going to work from the contract folder. So in this case, I'm simply going to CD into a contract folder and then open that in our editor. And this is where we're going to work from right now. Now, let me draw your attention to this folder. There are some files right here that you can basically study and the important ones. So one of that is the Assemblyscript folder or directory. So all your smart contract code is going to live in this particular folder. Now, your smart contracts are going to need some tests. So before you deploy them on blockchain, you need to know exactly what's going on within your smart contract or what your smart contract is doing. So to write all the tests, you're going to avail all the tests under this tests folder. Now, the index.ts is our main an entry file to our smart contract. Let me put it that way. So as we compile our smart contract WebAssembly bytecode, the compiler is basically going to use this index file as the entry point to convert, or rather to compile our source code into WebAssembly bytecode. So we're going to need this file really handy. If you're going to avail any other file within the project, then I'm going to show us how you can do that and basically link them here within the index.ts file. Now, there's a boilerplate code right here that has been availed to us. So this boilerplate is basically a smart contract in its capacity. So it has two functions. One is get greeting by providing account ID, and you can as well set greeting by doing what? Providing the message. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and delete all these. Okay, because you don't need it within our project. And then I'll just create a very simple function here, a very simple smart contract code called hello world. This is always the entry point to all coding challenges. So we're basically going to return the word hello world. Okay. Awesome. So this is a fully fledged smart contract code. Okay. So I'll just head back to our terminal and say yarn build. Now, yarn build is a script that has been availed in our package.json file. So here are some of the scripts you can use. Build is basically building, or rather compiling our source code to the WebAssembly bytecode. Test will utilize this while we'll be writing the tests for our smart contract, and you'll see how that is done. So apparently, let's just run that yarn build. That should you realize that there's a folder that is going to be created in this, but in our contract folder. Should be a build folder. Or we just missed something, sorry. So we missed a return type. In this case, it's going to be a string. Okay, should be a string. So we'll just clear that first. Then you can run yarn build again. Let's see what that gives us. Now, as that builds up, we also need to log into our wallet from our command line for us to be able to deploy a smart contract into our wallet. Okay, I hope guys you're getting that. Now, in order to do that, you're going to run near login. So this is basically going to direct us to a web interface where we're going to select the wallet you want to log in with, and then we'll be redirected back to the terminal. So in this case, we need to connect with NIA, and we're going to select the account we just created, that is SA cohort2.testnet. It's actually selected by default. Now I have other accounts that you can, if you have more than one account, you can select what you want to use. But in this case, I'm going to use what we just created, and I'm simply going to hit on next. So it will connect that. So I'll just hit on connect, provide the account ID. Then I'll just simply hit on confirm. So that should, what that is going to do is let me allow that. So if I head back to my home folder, there's this hidden folder called near credentials, and under it we have a folder by the name Testnet. So basically the credentials are arranged depending on the network you're using. So we have testnet and mainnet. So in this case, there's a JSON file that has been created by us logging in. Should be here. So this is the JSON file. So this contains all the security credentials you need to make a transaction on the NIA blockchain. So this is basically the file you are creating by running NIA login. Now that aside, let's get back to our terminal. So we have built our simple smart contract file. And there's this folder that has been added, the build folder, with this greeter.webassembly file. So we're going to deploy this on blockchain. And to do that, we're simply going to do near deploy. We're going near deploy, and we're going to provide the web wasm file. Our wasm file is in this case stored in this particular directory, build/release/greeter.wasm. Then what else do we need? We need the account you're going to deploy this particular smart contract to. So in this case, it's going to be SA cohort 2.testnet. This should work. So this is basically going to take this particular source code. So that was done immediately. This particular source code, bytecode, you realize it can't open in my editor, but we've basically transferred this file to blockchain. That is what we mean by deploying it on blockchain, okay? So we've deployed it on blockchain under this account or wallet ID. Now, we want to call this function right here, and we expect to get this particular string. Now, by calling this function, in this case, you're going to call it from blockchain. We're going to request it from blockchain, or rather, we're going to run it from a blockchain network, not in my local machine. And if you have near CLI, you can do this as well from your end, and just to test, it should return a hello world string. So I'm simply going to do near view, because this is a view function. I'll be talking about that in a bit. Near view is a cohort. So this is basically the account ID, or rather the wallet where we deployed our smart contract. And then I'm going to follow that by the name of the function without missing any spelling. So I'll just copy that from my editor and have it pasted right here. So it's hello world. So this doesn't accept any parameter. So it can just go as empty as that. So since it's a view function, we don't need to provide or to sign it. We don't need to sign this. So we can just run it as it is. And that returns to us hello world. If you already have near CLI installed from your end, then I'll just copy this and paste it in the chat and try it from your end. So you can simply try, that from your end. Okay, someone is the resource. Yeah, I'll be sharing the resource. I'll be sharing the GitHub account. Sorry, the GitHub link to this project after we're done with it, definitely. Someone is saying I should share the index.ts, rather display it. I don't know if you can see it now. Maybe you can confirm. Near CLI does not install. Okay. Your near CLI is not installing. Okay, use sudo. If you're on Linux, simply run the command using sudo, because it needs some right to install it globally. I think that is where the issue is. Yeah, just give it some privilege. If you're on Linux, do this. You can do what I'm writing on my terminal. So you do sudo npm install -g near CLI. This should work. So the missing point was sudo. Yeah. I think that was a missing point. So you can try that and let me know if that worked for you. If you're on Windows, you may need to grant it to run that as an administrator, if I'm not wrong. So run it as an admin, and you should be good to go. Yeah. So guys, time is almost time is not on our side. So I'll just, yes. So here we are. So this is a project you're going to work on, and I'll just begin straight away to bring every piece of our smart contract together. Now, for us to do the to-do, or rather to develop the to-do list application, at this point, we're going to develop its smart contract. So basically, it's backend on blockchain. Okay. So we're going to need to define the structure of a task, or what we expect a task to look like. So basically, it's object. Now, in this case, I'm going to create a folder inside assembly folder, and I'm going to call it models. Okay. And in this models folder, I'm going to create a file called task.ts. Now, the assembly script files ends with an extension .ts. In this case, don't confuse this with a TypeScript file. Okay, it is an assembly script file. It's only that they share sort of the extensions, all ending at with .ts. So our task, I'm going to begin. Sorry, let me just do this first, because I think if you're coming from JavaScript, you should be familiar with this. So I'm going to export a class by the name task. And inside the class, we're going to have instance variable title of the task. And this is going to expect a string literal. We're also going to need the status of that particular task. So the status is going to utilize what we call enums in Assemblyscript. Okay. So for now, I'll just use a string to describe the status. Then we're going to provide an ID to our particular task. And in this case, it's going to take an I32 type for the ID. Near, we call them decorators in TypeScript. Okay. So this decorator is basically going to help achieve serialization and deserialization of this particular object that is going to be stored on blockchain. Now, we achieve that by using near bindgen decorator. Near bindgen decorator. I don't know if that is giving me an error. Okay, so yeah, that is a near bindgen decorator. Oh God, the machine is feeling. Okay, so I guess my machine is running for my second. Will you give a quick summary of the commands you used in setting up the project to the point of deploying the smart contract? I used after you have every resource we talked about, node installed, npm installed, or yarn, and near CLI within your machine, you should be good to go by running npx create near app, and then you provide your project name. What as I just put it in the chat, that should get you going. Why did I pass my user ID? I don't know if I can get that function. Okay, Okoli. I think this is what I did. I did near view, then the account where we deployed our smart contract. Then I ran hello world, right? So you can just run it as it is. You're saying I passed my user ID. Now, this is not my user ID. This is basically the ID or the wallet ID where we deployed our smart contract. Okay. So in any case, if you wanted to run this from your end, you'd simply run it as it is. As it is. So simply run near view sa cohort2.testnet hello world. You should be able to view this particular string from your end. Maybe you can just do that and confirm. Now I'll proceed. So we were describing, so God. Yeah, I've pasted them, Timothy. So we're describing our task. So this is the structure our task is going to take. Then I'm going to, we're going to describe or rather implement enums you're going to use to describe the state of our task. So to achieve that, I'm basically going to create another folder right here. I'm going to call it utils. And inside it, I'm going to have a file called enums.ts. And then inside enums.ts, I'm going to avail, I'm going to export enum. And in this case, you're going to call this enum task status, right? And in it, you're going to have the pending status. So basically going to name that pending, active, and then complete or completed. So that is how our enum or the state of any task within our system is going to look like. It's either going to take a pending state or an active state or a completed state, but not both at the same time. So in this case, I'm gonna, instead of string, we're going to have to give it a type of task status right there. So let's just have this closed first. Yeah, so this should import it. So we just imported that. Yeah, so that is how we're going to describe our task. So I think we're done with that. After describing our task, okay, the function of decorator near bindgen, like I said, it is going to help serialize and deserialize this particular class in blockchain. Okay. So, okay, this smart contract is going to be stored somewhere in a machine or in a node within the blockchain network, right? And anytime it is invoked, it will have to be deserialized before it can be executed. Now, the decorator, the near bindgen decorator, is always going to help facilitate serialization and deserialization of this particular code or function on the near blockchain. I hope that is quite clear, Obi. Maybe you can, in case you've not got it, maybe you can come up again. So after that, we're going to create another file inside our models. We're going to name this task manager. So task manager.ts. And inside here, we're also gonna export a class. This class is going to take the name task manager. And we'll also need a decorator near bindgen decorator right there. Then this class is going to have an instance variable Okay, thank you, Bobby. It's gonna have an instance variable called tasks, and these instance variable is basically going to be of type an array of tasks. Okay, so basically an array of tasks object we created earlier, and we're going to initialize it to an empty array. We should be good to go up to that point. So from there, we're going to create a function that is going to add a task into our list of tasks. So this is basically going to be a function. It is going to take a title for the task, which the user will provide. This will be of type string. Then it's gonna, for now, let's go with void. I'll come to that later. So inside the function, we're going to structure these into, we're going to structure these to take the structure of the task object we created earlier. So in this case, we're simply going to have another variable inside the function called the task, and we're going to equate these, or rather initialize these to a new task object. Now you realize that we need a constructor within the class we just created. So in this case, we're going to have a constructor function right here to help initialize the object. So we're going to take title of type string, and yeah, I think that should be it. Yeah, that should be it. So that initially when you add a task, it should be pending, should be in a pending state. Yeah, that's why I left the rest. Okay. Maybe you can get rid of this just for now. I'll tell you where we're going to use that, or rather to utilize that. So we just go with title and give it the value as captured from the user. Then these dot status is going to take task status dot pending state. So it is initially going to be in a pending state. Okay. Now over to our task manager right here, it is now going to require us, maybe you can drag this down here. It is going to require us to provide the title, right? So we're simply going to pass this down as provided by the user, and that should be able to create our task object up to that point. I hope you're clear. Now, the next line, I'm simply going to need to now push this. Sorry, first of all, we're going to need to add these to the list of other tasks. So in this case, this the tasks dot push, because it's an array. So simply going to push the task we've just created right now. Now, the push function basically returns the index that item has been pushed into, an index within the array that the item has been pushed to. So for us to store that particular index, we're going to store it. We're going to store it as an ID in that particular variable. Awesome. Now we want to return this back to the user, whoever is calling this particular function, for them to know whatever they've created, sort of, and the ID that has taken. Okay. So in order for us to push that back to the user, we're going to need another object for us to be able to bundle this information in the right way. So I'm going to call this task info.ts, basically another object. Then I'm going to export these as a class, and I'm going to name this task info. In this case, it's going to take this particular shape of title of type string. We're going to have a status of type tasks status. Then it's going to take an ID as well. This is going to be of type I32 now. So this is where we need to use that particular ID. Now, let's avail a constructor just to help us structure everything or initialize everything. Well, So we're gonna need a title of type string. We're gonna need a status of type task status. We're gonna need an ID of type I32. Then let's just link these two inside here. Yeah, I hope that is clear, guys. So that this object is what you're going to use to bundle every information we're going to return back to the user, now to the interface. Okay, maybe you can we can provide this as well right here, but I don't think it's important at that point, just for us to avoid any unnecessary errors. Now right here, for us to bundle this and send it back to the user, so I'm simply going to return an object of this task info that is basically gonna, now instead of okay, but I feel like instead of us repeating ourselves with the title and status, we can basically accept a task, right, of type task, so that we capture all this information from within this particular function, within this particular object, so that we just do task dot title and task dot status. Yeah, I think by that that should get us going. Just so that at this point we just provide the task we created and the ID. That should get us going. Task is info is not assignable to type void. Okay. So we're gonna return a value of type task info. I hope guys up to that point I've not confused anyone. I hope you're on the right track with everyone. So that is the add task functionality within our smart contract. Now, after adding task within the list of our tasks, we may want to change its status. Okay, so we want to change the status to be active or completed. So in this case, we're going to write a function that is going to help us achieve that basically. So we're going to start our task, right? A function called start task. This function is basically going to accept the task ID. This ID is going to be of type I32. And for now, let's return void until we see the need of returning something. So for us to basically indicate that we're going to start a task, right, we need to change its status. And for us to do that, we first of all need to retrieve the task. We need to change its status. And in this case, we're going to do this. First of all, we need to check if the task ID provided is, in this case, viable. So it's not out of the bound with the of the list of tasks we have. So because this is going to act as the index in our array. So if that particular index provided is out of bound, it will raise some errors. So for us to avoid that, we're simply going to have this simple if function of task ID. So we're basically going to check this if it is greater than or equal to the list of tasks we have. So basically this dot task dot length. So if it is greater than, okay, we're basically going to return false, because in this case, that takes of type bool, okay. So in this case, we're going to return false because the status was never changed, okay. But if the task ID provided is within range, then we're simply going to do this, the tasks given the task ID to help us retrieve the task object we're talking about. Then we're simply going to change the status to task status dot active. So in this case, we'll have changed the status of task, and then you can simply return true. Awesome. So that is the function we're going to use to basically change the status to active, status of our task, any of our tasks to be active. So after that, I'll simply copy these because I see time is not on our side and I want this to happen quite fast. And my machine just failed me. Keep on hanging. Oh no. My machine is failing me right here. Okay. Guys, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, you want to see task.ts for a moment? Okay, just a minute. Let me just copy this and see how I can do that. Sorry guys, I'm really having issues with this machine today. This machine is failing me. Let me just write this function for the time being. Then I'll show you that in a bit. So in this case, we're going to complete task. We started task, we're going to complete task. It's basically going to be to take the same trend. We first of all are going to check if the ID is valid. If otherwise we return false, then if it is valid, we change its state to completed. Awesome. Then if that is successful, we return true. Then with that we should be done. So you want to see the enums file? I don't know if you can drag these. Yeah. Oh, so here's the task file. That is the OB. That is the task file. Then here is the enums file for Okoli. That is the enums file. I hope you can see that. Okay, thank you. So we'll just proceed. Now, how can I get this thing down? So maybe we'll just proceed in our task manager file. So from here, we've started a task, we've completed a task. We may want to remove a task, right? We may want to delete a task. But before that, we've added a task. We need to view that task we've added. So in this case, we're going to have a show task function. By providing a task ID of type I32, it should be able to return to you task info of the task contained within that particular index in the area of our task. So in this case, we're simply going to check, first of all, if whatever you provided is valid. Okay. So in this case, task ID, if it is greater than the length of our task, then that is going to be null. In this case, it will be null, not false. Then if you provided a valid task ID, then these should return basically these the tasks. Given the task ID, these should be the task we're talking about. So that will help us basically get the task. Then we are returning new task info, taking in the task and the ID of our task, in this case, the index that is containing that task. So task ID, basically that. So you run that, you should be good to go to view the particular task you've requested. Now, what if we want to show all the tasks within the list of all the tasks that we have within our list? So in this case, we're basically going to write a function to do that. It is going to show all tasks. And in this case, it will not accept any parameter. Then there's no need of having that check, because in this case, we're basically returning the whole array. So in this case, we're simply going to do return tasks. So return tasks is going to be a list of tasks, right? So that simple line of code should be able to return all the tasks you have within your array, all the list of tasks you have within your array. Awesome. Now, Obi, are you getting something? I hope you guys are not lost yet. Let's do it up to 9:30, please. Then we can end it at 9:30. I please request you guys to be patient with me. Then we'll proceed from there tomorrow, if you don't mind. Okay. Usually we don't do tradings this way. Yeah, we'll provide the recording. Usually we don't do the training this way, but we just take you through what is required of you. Then you figure out all this from here personally. So this time around, I decided to just get us hands-on to this and see how all this is done. So we've already added some good functions to our task manager class. The last function, I guess, we're going to add right here. The recording, okay, we'll share a link to the recordings. I think that will be easier than sending it to your emails, because it will be a little bit bulky. So we'll just share a link to this raw recording, and you should be good to go with that. So let's just add the last function within this class, and we'll proceed with the rest tomorrow. Okay. I'm also going to push this to a GitHub repository. Okay, we're going to upload the recording in YouTube and share the link in your email addresses. Obi, right? I hope that is fair. That will be fair, right? Okay, thank you. So let's just add one function, and we call it a night or a day for those of us who are joining us from Nigeria. Then we'll proceed from there tomorrow. So in this case, we're going to add just one function called remove task. So remove task is also going to accept a parameter, task ID of type I32, basically the ID where our task will be stored within our array. So for now, we're returning void. Then what do we need to do in this case? We first of all need to verify that whatever task ID provided is within the range. So if it is not, then this should return null. So let's do null here first as our first return type. So if it is out of range, it should return null. Else, we need to go ahead and sort of remove that particular task from our array. So to achieve that, we're going to use a for loop to basically loop through the list of our task. And if we get the ID, right, the task that whose ID has been specified, we basically exclude it from the new array. Now, usually those who are comfortable with JavaScript, this is what you do. this is what you do. You'd use the filter function. Now, unfortunately, in Assemblyscript, this is not implemented, and that's why I said, in as much as Assemblyscript is well, it looks more like a TypeScript or JavaScript. Not everything in JavaScript is implemented in Assemblyscript. So a function like this, if you have it within your code, it may give you some headache of debugging until you realize that, because nothing will run within your smart contract if there's any single spot of error. So in this case, to save us the headache, we're simply going to have a new variable here. We're going to call it temporary tasks. It is going to be of type tasks, basically an array of tasks. Then we're gonna do a for loop. This for loop, this is how we're going to initialize this. Usually, as we do it in other programming languages, this dot tasks dot length, then we're basically going to increment that. Okay, so after that is done, if the task ID provided is equivalent, in this case, is not equal to the ID we have in our array. So in this case, we are testing if the task ID provided right here is not equal to the ID in our array. If that is the case, then we basically push this task to our temporary array. Temp tasks.push. We're going to push it right here. So in this case, we're going to push task. Let me just have that initialized right here, or rather defined right here. Task is equal to this dot tasks I. So this is basically going to get us the task from the array. Then, if it is not the one we are deleting, then we should push it to the temporary file. Okay. After that, does ID does ID on the near protocol start from 0 or 1? It begins from 0. Yeah, it begins from 0. Awesome. Yeah, so we basically push that. Okay. If in case the index, if we reach an index that is equal to whatever index specified, we're not going to add that to the array. Okay. So we expect that by the end of this loop, we're going to have a whole new set of tasks that we now can rather assign to our instance variable tasks. So that is basically how we're going to achieve that. So that should help us achieve the delete function. Then we also need to return to the user basically the task they've deleted. Okay, basically to show them that, hey, given the index you provided, here's the information or record you removed from the array. So in this case, I'm going to do const removed task of type task, right? So that type task is going to be, we can initialize that to null for now. Then have these, let that be a let, let's use the let keyword right there. So else, I've just stated an else function there. So else, if this task ID is equivalent to the whatever is in our I variable, then we're simply going to assign the task to the removed task variable right at the top, right there. Then down here, after everything is complete, we're simply going to return that particular removed task, and we need to provide its value right here. So task info, and we should be good to go. This should be task info, sorry. No. That is task. I think I just made an error right here, guys. So this is how we're going to resolve this. So this should be new task info, right? Or just, let's not confuse ourselves. Let's just return it as it is. So that we use task over there. Yeah. So you should be good to go with that. So I think we can just stop at this point. What remains is what has remained right here is very minimal. So we can just meet tomorrow and finish up with that as we start off with our front end. Okay, guys. So here's basically a project, and all our smart contract files has gone inside this assembly folder or directory. And today we've only worked on two major directories, that is models and utils. Inside models, we've had a task of a class, task info class as well, and task manager class. So we've seen how all these three have been linked. Then we've also created an enum sort of object that is basically going to help us define the status of our tasks, right? So I'm going to push this thing in GitHub repository. Then I'll be sharing the link with you in our group. If in case you've not joined our Telegram group, then I should share a file with you guys. Sorry, a link for you to join. So you can basically follow that link and join in. You should be good to go. Yeah. So this stopped first. Okay. So guys, that is it. Let's call it a night for today. I hope you've learned something, one or two, and we'll even be learning more tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to finish up with our smart contract, then start off with the front end of our smart contract, and from there we'll see how we can basically integrate the two. And we should be doing that on Friday, if I'm not wrong. So thank you all for coming. Is there any question maybe from anyone? Any question from anyone? Any question, any comment, any addition, any subtractions you guys might be having? Yes. Eric, I've not got your question clearly. Maybe if you can just come up. Do you mind unmuting maybe? Eric Joroge. Maybe you can just unmute and bring up the question.
Okay, what I'm asking is if you've implemented some software architectural pattern for these simple projects, like MVP or MVVM or MVC.
Well, no, I'm just doing this as simple as possible. So basically, this for the smart contract, if you run npx, the command we ran while we were creating the whole project, if you just run that, there's a particular setup that is that you'll see. So that is basically what I'm working with. But for the front end bit of it, we'll just do something simple, just to onboard everyone, like what everyone can understand. So if you want to have a look at the architecture we've used, maybe you can run that particular command, npx create new app, by specifying the project name. So what you'll basically see at the contract folder, the contract folder, that is basically what you're using. I don't know if that answers you, Eric. Maybe you can confirm.
Okay, maybe not, but it's okay.
Okay. Any other
Maybe
question?
we'll talk about that later.
Okay. We'll get in touch.
Pardon?
We'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Is there anyone with any other question? Maybe? You can raise your hand if you don't mind unmuting, or you can just put it in the chat. Okay, I guess there's no other question. So thank you guys for coming for today. This marks our day 2. Thank you all for